shark, bite like a great white. I'm a shark, bite like a great white. I'm a shark, bite like a great white. Gas, no brakes, I'ma take mine. My team looking like we got 6 rings. Back up all the shit, I'm talking all big things. My team looking like we got 6 rings. Back up all the shit, talking all big things. I'm a shark, bite like a great white. I'm a shark, bite like a great white. I'm a shark, bite like a great white. Gas, no brakes.
Welcome to another Joe Call Show. We're at the Citadel where we're practicing the final practice of the week as the Land Sharks get ready to face off against their Pinnacle Cup rival Gray Collegiate in Columbia on Friday night. Coach, first of all, congratulations on winning your region for the first time being in 3A. Your team made it through undefeated, and it's been a while since we had a show, so there's several games for us to talk about today before we take a preview of the Gray game. First of all, you had kind of a tough battle with Hanahan as Coach Art Craig is finding some success there in his first season.
Yeah, going back to the Hanahan game, kind of as it's played out, they're in the playoffs. They ended up beating Bishop England to make the playoffs, so that was a tough game. We talked about it being just a bloody nose type game, and it was. Just tough. Two really good offensive running teams and two good defenses just kind of battled it out, and then it came down to the end where we made a great special teams play. We pinned them deep down on the 1 yard line, then the defense held and got a short field and was able to push it in at the end. But it was it lived up to the hype. That was a fun game to be a part of. It's our first game here at Johnson Haga Stadium. It was our first home game of the year, and so it was we had a great crowd that came out that night. So it was an exciting night, but it was definitely kind of proved to be the difference in the region, who became the region champion, who became the runner-up.
Your defense is looking good. They gave up 1 touchdown on a short field to Bishop England in that first game, then 1 touchdown in the first half, I think it was, against Hanahan, but then shut out Battery Creek and Academic Magnet.
Right, defense is just playing great. They're just, it's all in their preparation, during the week. And one thing that we've kind of done, throughout the year is a lot of guys have really kind of grown up, throughout the year and gotten just better. You can see them getting better and better every week. I mean, even guys that have not ever played defense before this season have stepped in and just become, part of that dominating defense. And, they just have really kind of found their niche and kind of their attitude, kind of their swagger, we may give up a few yards, and in today's world of football, there's a lot of fancy offenses, RPO games, and a lot of wide open passing attacks and stuff like that. And so teams are going to score points. So when you got a defense that gets a little attitude to them and just kind of refuses to give up points, it's something they take a lot of pride in. And and like you said, they've had 2 shutouts and really only given up 14 points all year. And so they even look at that as possibilities. They shouldn't have given those up. That's their attitude. That's their mindset. So it's always good to championship teams have great defenses, and our guys have continued to get better and better each week. And and as we'll talk about going forward, we got to continue to get better on that side of the ball, and along with improving on offense if we want to get to where we want to get to.
Of course, you mentioned that there are a lot of young players that are having significant impact on defense. In fact, you don't have a single senior starter on your defense, right?
Right. Yeah. We have a few seniors that are on offense, but a few seniors that are providing a little depth for us on defense. But as far as starters, yeah, we got 11 underclassmen.
And as you think about some of those younger players, Timmy Castine, the sophomore, making a big difference on the inside of that defensive line. Cameron had a big interception for you earlier in the year. He's a sophomore. What are some of the other younger players who've really stepped up?
Yeah, you mentioned Timmy and Cameron, along with Marcus Adams. He plays one of the ends, and then Zay Offer playing a corner, and then Rico Harrell playing at the other corner, and then Roan and Zach Hagedon, they're just solid in the safety position. They play great pass coverage defense, and they come up and they're good run stoppers. You got to have good run stoppers in defense. And then can't say enough about our linebackers. I think we have 3 of the best linebackers. Not only in the Low Country, but in all of 3A and in the state. With Carson Arnold, Red Powell, and Dana Brunson. The 3 of those guys are just making all of our tackles. When your linebackers are making the tackles, your defensive line is doing their job. and James DeVoe up front and Timmy up front, those guys are doing their job along with Marcus, and they occupy the blockers. It's a lot of times they don't get a lot of credit, and they'll get a sack here and there, but when they're occupying double teams and the blockers, it allows guys like Dana and Carson and Rhett to just make all the tackles. And then here come your safeties. They're trying to enter the box, and especially games like Hanahan, where they're a running team. You insert your safeties to give the extra guy, and those guys they know how to get guys to the ground. It's one thing just to get the guys, but actually to be able to physically get those guys on the ground, and that's just a tribute to their off-season strength program, how strong our guys are. They're big, powerful kids, and they show it on Friday night in how they play defense.
Coach Evan Gates, of course, is your strength coach in his second year with the Land Sharks, and he's really made a difference with the conditioning and strength of these guys.
Yeah, and one of the differences here at Oceanside that we do that's really kind of different than everybody, we maintain a very strenuous strength program even during the season. A lot of teams will kind of back off and they won't lift as hard during the season, but we're still lifting 4 days a week during the season, and we lift right before practice. So our guys go to practice right after a lift, right after conditioning, so they learn to practice at a level to where they're already tired when they come to practice. And I think it helps improve their overall Friday night.
So let's talk about offense a little bit. When you think of your offense, your rushing game is led by a sophomore again, a young player making a big difference in Vaughn Blue, and he's splitting time primarily with Lamar Prelow and to a lesser extent Rhett Powell. But you have to be really glad of what that offensive line is doing and what your running backs have been able to achieve.
Yeah, it takes good running backs to build that confidence week after week, and you can see that with with Vaughn and Lamar. They're gaining that confidence every week, with every rep they get in practice. And it's one thing to have, we've talked about this before, having a big offensive line opening holes, but those guys got to be able to press the gap and see those holes and stick that foot in the ground and get vertical, and that's what they've been able to do. So it's really to see the running game grow like that is really improved. And also the guys are catching the ball really good out of the backfield, and that's just defenses tend to forget about a guy after you fake it to him every once in a while. So it's good to see those guys catching the ball out of the backfield and making plays.
I noticed the fact that Vaughn Blue is your second leading receiver on your offense. That's quite an accomplishment for the young running back.
Yeah, it's really kind of with our offense, it comes off the play action passes, because everybody knows we're going to run the ball, and why wouldn't you behind the offensive line we got? So it's important for us to have the play action game and the RPO game to be strong, and that really involves running backs, making the plays and tight ends, more so than wide receivers. So we're not, it's
thanks a lot, buddy.
Stomping coming down the bleachers.
We're at the Citadel recording this show with the track team. I guess
the track team's having practice too.
It's having practice,
but,
running up and down the stands. But go ahead.
But yeah, to not be, we're not going to be something that we're not, which is a pocket passing team, throwing the ball vertical downfield, and we wouldn't be playing the type of game that suits our abilities, if we tried to do that. So that involves the running backs catching the ball a lot.
So let's talk a little bit about the Academic Magnet game. Of course, their football team has really struggled this year, and you basically only had one half of football against them. The second half was a running 8-minute clock. But you used that opportunity to try and work on your passing game a little bit, throwing it almost all the time in the first half. Do you feel like you've made some progress?
Yeah, we do. We, like you said, one of the areas we want to really improve on that we've been working hard in practice is being able to make the easy things easy. And what I mean by that is taking some of our basic route concepts and let's throw and catch. Let's gain some confidence with our wide receivers and with Garrison throwing the ball and making the right reads and just getting the ball out quick and trying to get it out wide and let those guys make some plays in space. And because that's going to be an area that we need to continue to improve on as we move into the playoffs and as we want to continue later in the season. So we have to I thought we did a lot better in doing that against Academic Magnet. And there are a few throws here and there that we would have liked to have completed. And, it's really kind of and we were talking about this earlier, but it's to be able to. It's not as easy as sometimes on TV they make it look to throw and catch a football, because there's a lot of moving parts that got to happen and a lot of not only with the protection up front, but making the throw and running the right route, and being, a lot of our concepts are based off of timing, so the timing's got to be just right. And that's really what we wanted to work on at the first half of the Academic Magnet game, rather than just, hand it off, play after play after play. Actually go in there and really focus on a certain area of our offense and improve on it, and I think we did that.
So, Coach, we're headed into the final game of the regular season, I believe. We haven't been able to add another game.
Right. This is the last game. Yep.
So, of course, it's Gray Collegiate, and they're our charter sister school to Oceanside, and you play for the Pinnacle Cup every year, and Oceanside has owned it since it's existed. And I know you're hoping that you can keep it going, but they come in here undefeated. One team they beat, I noticed, was Saluda, who is a perennial power in AA. They're, of course, a AA school, not a 3A. So give us kind of an overview of what to look for this week.
Well, first off, with it being Gray, an obvious rival for us, but it's a lot of our coaches, and my first time in this rivalry, so it's something we're really looking forward to kind of joining that rivalry and being a part of it. And for our players, a lot of our players played on JV last year, and they lost to Gray. And so, they're kind of, their mindset, they're coming off of a loss to Gray, even though our varsity won last year. Most of these guys played on JV, so they got that bitter taste in their mouth from that JV game last year, and how we had to lead and had the rain delay, and then came back and gave up a big lead and ended up losing the game in the second half. So, those guys got that kind of fresh in their mind. So, it's now talking specifically about Gray, they without a doubt have one of the best, if not the best, running back in the state. And KZ Adams lives up to the hype. He had 329 yards rushing last week against Newberry.
Wow.
They're ranked Gray's ranked number 2 in the state, and Newberry was ranked number 3. And he had just a phenomenal game. So it's no secret what they try to do is get him the ball and let him make plays. And a lot of times, even if you get him, when you think you got him corralled, he finds a way to skirt out of it and go make a play. So, it's going to take a tremendous effort by our defense. But, it's not just him. They got they had a great quarterback last year who's now doing big things at Clemson. And, but they found a guy it's a lot different looking kind of offense than they ran last year. But, he's going to pull the ball down and run a lot more. So he has certainly become a threat for them. So, if KZ doesn't have the ball, he's got the ball, So it's and then he's got some good targets at wide receivers, some very good skill players. And, anytime you get a running back who can rush for over 300 yards a game like KZ does, they got to have a good line up front. And,
no question.
So they got a good offensive line to go with it as well.
And of course, their quarterback is throwing for about the same amount of yardage that we are per game, around 138 yards or so. But their total yardage is about 100 yards more than Oceanside this year. So it's going to be a real challenge for your defense to stop that running game. Can we look for any different adjustments from the standpoint of the defense facing this team?
Yeah, we've been, our special teams, our kicking game has given our defense, putting our defense in pretty good situations all year. And kind of looking back on our first 5 games, with either Spencer with his kickoffs, with his touchbacks, or with Coleman's punts, it's been able to pin teams deep. So, our defense, we do a great job every week of identifying what the strengths are of our opponents, and we've done that this week as well. So it's just being able to actually execute the game plan now, to step up, and it's not like we're going to ask them to do anything that they're not used to doing. Just make sure you do your job. We have a defense that is based off of, you do your assignment. That may not include you making the play every play, the guy, but you doing your job and let your brother do his job, which is make the play, make the tackle. So. It's just make sure, we've been really focusing on just doing their assignment and making sure, if you have a gap, sometimes we got out of our gaps against, Battery Creek, 2 weeks ago, and they were able to rush on us. So we got to make sure if you got a gap, get your gap, take your gap. And a lot of times that's going to, it's unselfish play. You take your gap to let your linebackers make the tackle. And so, we're going to have to be really sharp on doing that this week to make sure we can be in the right spots to make plays. You got to be in. You got to line up right, you got to be in a position to make plays, and then you got to make the plays. So we got to make sure we're following all of our assignments.
Of course, that's the Gray Collegiate game. It'll be here at the Citadel Friday night at 7:30. We'll be carrying a live feed of the game. We'll be distributing the link for that as we get closer to game time. Let's talk quickly though, because tomorrow night the Land Shark JV team is going to be facing off against Gray's JV team in Columbia.
Right.
That should be a good challenge.
Yeah, it is. You got two, again, just like the varsities, two undefeated JV teams kind of going at it. It's a Lucy Beckham last week for them was a big game, the first time they've played, and we were able to come out on top. Our guys, our JV coaches did a great job with the game plan, and the players just executed to perfection. And it was a great night for Oceanside to get that first win, over a Mount Pleasant rival, Lucy Beckham. That'll be a big rival going for years. And they, but again, we lost to Gray last year on JV, and that's kind of sitting tight with all of us. I know the coaches and the players that were on JV last year. This is a little chance to go back up to Gray and get a little revenge. So they've had a great week of practice, and man, they're ready to go. So I know they're looking forward to it.
Coach Joe Call, good luck in the Pinnacle Cup game Friday night and with the JV matchup on Thursday night. And we'll look forward to talking to you next week as we move into the playoffs with home field advantage all the way through.
Yeah, good encouragement here for the Citadel track team with practice here, getting on, getting as part of the show. But we've looking forward to our first experience with the Pinnacle Cup. So we'll look forward to having a big crowd here Friday night.
All right, these shows have been an adventure all season. Today was no exception. We'll see you Friday night.
I'm a shark, bite like a great white. I'm a shark, bite like a great white. I'm a shark, bite like a great white. Gas, no brakes, I'ma take mine. My team looking like we got 6 rings. Back up all the shit, I'm talking all big things. My team looking like we got 6 rings. Back up all the shit, talking all big things. I'm a shark, bite like a great white. I'm a shark, bite like a great white. I'm a shark, bite like a great white.